Now, Future Redeemed has been out for a couple months now, and as we all know, it's absolutely phenomenal. Future Redeemed was a very welcomed addition to Xenoblade 3 and just the series as a whole. Finally telling us the story about the founders and what happened and how they fended off Mobius and all of that, just like we speculated with the whole memorial hall in the city with all the statues of the founders. We finally got that story, and the game is incredible with the gameplay, the story, the areas, music, everything, characters and everything. And one character in particular is the topic of this video, and now that I think about it, I kind of have two issues with Future Redeemed, and even then they're not really issues, they're kind of just like inconveniences, things I wish were the case, but I'm not really, it doesn't hinder the experience even though they're not the case. But the first one is that Nael isn't playable. At the end of the game, once you finally beat the game, in post game, Nael becomes effectively a hero in the party, in and outside of combat. And that's cool and all. I was so hyped when I found out that Nael was actually part of the party now. And you know, I love Nael. She's probably my favorite character from Future Redeemed. I even made an entire The Tragic Story video about her, which I've made two before that on Klaus and Shania, and I actually have two more in the works right now. I enjoy making the Tragic Story videos a lot, and they do pretty well. And I kind of just like diving into certain characters and explaining their characters and why they are the way they are and yada yada yada. My Shania one did very well, and I'm very happy about that, since that's probably the video I've put the most time and effort into out of all my videos. So little teaser, the two characters, I have two more videos like this, one from Xenoblade 3 and one from Xenoblade X. So that's going to be very fun to work on. But Nael, I don't really understand why she's not playable. I mean, I guess it's just a nice little post-game bonus, but we even got to play as her near the end of the game to fight N in the city in the little flashback. So like, she has data and everything for like being playable and whatever. So I'm not really sure why she isn't. I mean, I guess it would make sense because she wouldn't have a Unity pairing with anyone. Not that that would be an issue, because you can use any Unity pairing just by holding down ZL. And I mean, none of the heroes were playable in Xenoblade 3, so I guess it's just to keep consistent with that. But it really would have been nice to play as Nael, and I thought she was going to be playable because we got to play as her in that fight. But like I said, it's not really an issue, it's just an inconvenience. So I like Nael a lot. She's definitely my favorite character from Future Redeemed, and one of my favorite character designs from Xenoblade 3 as a whole. And the other little inconvenience I guess I have is that there's no New Game Plus. Now this one is even more confusing. I'm not really sure why there isn't New Game Plus, considering Torna had it, as well as Xenoblade 3 itself has New Game Plus. So you could make the argument that, oh, it's just like a little side DLC side story, so New Game Plus, you know, there'd be no reason to give it to it. But like I said, Torna has New Game Plus, so I'm not really sure why Future Redeemed doesn't. But Future Connected also doesn't have it, and that came out after Torna. Like, DE came out after Torna. So, and I mean, it kind of makes sense for Future Connected not to have New Game Plus, since it's not really like a whole game in and of itself. It's kind of just like an epilogue to a Xenoblade 1. It's just like a little, like a Melia story. It's not like a full-on game. So it would make sense that why that didn't have New Game Plus. But Future Redeemed is a lot like Torna, so it's like a full-on like prequel DLC game. So I'm not really sure why. I think, you know, a couple reasons I could think of is that all of the unlock kits for like the affinity growth, arts, gems, accessories, and all that they wouldn't want you to get duplicates of those because you wouldn't be able to use them, but I don't really see how that would affect anything. And that's really about it. I can't really think of any reason why Future Redeemed wouldn't have New Game Plus. I mean, I don't think it would be that hard to implement, and it wouldn't really, I guess maybe because Niall would be in the party and you can't really take her out of the party, I don't think. So maybe that's the reason, because it wouldn't really make sense to have her throughout the whole game. Which again, you know, this New Game Plus, you carry over save data and like post game stuff into a new file. So I don't see why Niall being there would be much of an issue. It's not like she'd have any story impact, but which should be too broken starting off since she'd have everything unlocked. But then again, it's New Game Plus, so you'd be at whatever level with all your items and everything anyway. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm confused as to why there really isn't a New Game Plus. Because Niall wouldn't really be an issue, and none of the unlock kits would be an issue either. So I'm not too sure why. But yeah, that's really about it. I just kind of wanted to go over those two because it would have been really nice if those two issues, I guess, weren't issues. If Niall was a playable character and there was New Game Plus, I would have played Future Redeemed like 4 or 5 times now over again if there's New Game Plus. I'm actually going through my second playthrough of Future Redeemed right now, and it just reminded me of how much I actually love this game and the series. It's incredible. But yeah, that's really about it. So I mean, I guess one other thing that other people were complaining about that I'm indifferent about it, I don't really care, is that Shulk and Rex, their classes aren't inheritable in base game Xenoblade 3. So Grand Marshal and Master Driver aren't classes you can use on the party, which is a bit disappointing, but we've already gotten a whole lot out of this game, so at this point it kind of just feels like entitlement for some people. But Rex and Shulk's classes not being inheritable is fine. They gave us 4 waves of DLC, with one of them being an entire prequel story. They did not have to do that, but they did it anyway. So, and then they even brought over Rex and Shulk into the base game anyway, so that's more than enough. So their classes not being inheritable is not that big a deal. But I do admit it would be funny and kind of adorable to see Master Driver Senna, just her double spinning edge with these 2 big ass swords. That would be kind of cute. But yeah, Future Redeemed is an incredible game, and it's an incredible wrap up to the Klaus saga. So I'm very excited to see what else Monolith has cooking, because we know it's gonna be some gourmet shit with X2 or Xenoblade 3, or I mean Xenoblade 4, maybe Xenosaga 4. Who knows? We still don't know anything about the whole Xenosaga situation, but whatever they're doing next, we know it's going to be a banger, and I am patiently waiting. But yeah, that's really about it. So we'll see you next mission and play some goddamn Xenoblade.